I mean, does your religion encourage intimacy with wife/husband?
Welcome back to our channel.
Welcome back. If you haven't yet, really quickly, subscribe. Today's video vlog is on long-awaited on Judaism and relationships between men and women.
So many people have posted questions on a reel we have made on Instagram, asking them to put in their questions so we can make this vlog.
Sorry, I'm so sorry it didn't make sense.
I'm so sorry. While here in the cafe, I bumped into my friends from Denmark over here. Guys, say hi. Hi. And we're gonna ask them a question. Do you guys think you can be friends with girls without having emotional feelings for them? Yeah. Honestly, what do you think? Ærligt talat.
I think yes, you can.
You can be friends without having emotional feelings?
Yes, sure.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course. I totally agree.
Yeah? Yeah, I agree. Me too. Everyone agrees?
Yeah, I have many friends, some like girls, but I don't really have feelings for them.
But what if you're going to be a best friend with them?
Yeah.
No feelings?
No.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you guys want to be married when you're older? Yeah? You guys want to be married?
Yeah.
Do you think you can be married to your wife and then still be friends with other girls as well? So the first question is, Rizal?
I mean, does your religion encourage intimacy with wife/husband? A lot of people think intimacy is not so encouraged or is dirty.
You have to be studying the whole day and not focusing on such matters. It's one of the main focuses in Judaism, and it's something that's sacred, so it's not spoken about in public settings. It's not like, oh, taboo, we should be speaking about this more. The moment you speak about it, you take away from the privacy of it.
I could speak for my own personal opinion, but I feel like in society a lot, in general, intimacy is seen as something like dirty, and it's seen a little bit like,
Ooh.
you know, everything in life that has good also has the extreme opposite. So any example, money could be used for something so positive.
You're supporting our channel.
That. And on the other hand, it could be used for negativity. It could be used for addictions. Intimacy is the same. If it's within the right framework, it is so important and so focused on. And then obviously the opposite. If it's in the wrong framework, then it's the opposite.
Again, it just leads to heartbreak.
Hey, you used to say that the whole time in the dating video. Leads to heartbreak. The next question we have is Danny.
Why do you have a mechitza between the men's section and the women's section?
So a mechitza is, if you've seen our wedding video, you would see it. It's that partition that goes straight through at events usually, and it splits the women on one side and the men on the other side. Why do we have these separation barriers between the men and women? Like, it sounds kind of
scary. Like,
scary
what's
and
wrong?
Nuts. Like, what is wrong with men and women like chilling with each other and just sitting at an event together?
Just being friends.
Yeah.
In Judaism, men and women are not friends. We are friendly, but not friends. Meaning, I am friends with boys and Rizal.
And my good friends are all girls.
We are friendly to the other sex.
And respectful, and you could have conversation, and etc.
But we're not friends.
Obviously, there is an intrinsic spark between, that's how God created this world. Men and women have an intrinsic spark between each other. It just is how this world is. Because of that, the Torah...
Yeah, we can't just ignore that. We can't just ignore that concept. So, no, hey, we're friends. What do you mean we're friends? There is that element. A good point.
So because of that, thank you. Because of that, the Torah... Oh, it's so funny.
It was just funny how I just said that.
Because of that, the Torah puts boundaries in place that men and women, their relationships should be only for the gender that they are, because they want the relationship between a husband and wife to be so valued. Oh, and if you think about it, sorry, I'm just adding another point over here. When it comes to being friends and friendly, there's like that the very typical scenario in like, literally in movies, where there's like a new secretary and then the guy starts falling in love and then he's married and then it's the whole thing, who's he going to go with?
And the best excuse is, it's in context. What do you mean? It's not my friend, it's just a secretary. What do you mean? It's not my friend, it's just a doctor.
It's not my friend, it's just my dentist. It's not. It's not. And then these situations, sadly, well, this is how I'm saying, like, there's a reason that obviously movies are exaggerated, but a lot of them play along the storyline because there is a truth to it. And when somebody is in a very close relationship with another person, it could bring about a inappropriate relationship, especially if they are already married. If I am friends with another male, then obviously, as any relationship is, you're going to invest in that friendship because that is...
You should be investing in that
Yeah,
friendship.
that is what a friendship is. And there is something so special to having the relationship between your husband and yourself being the male relationship that you are invested in, and the only relationship that you're invested in, obviously, besides for brothers and fathers and family. But
And if you don't invest, you're a bad friend.
no, it's true. So then why can't we have relationships before we're married?
You want to come to your marriage wholesome. You don't want to come to your marriage, which is so important. Okay, let's just look at it as if Judaism respects marriage like this. Okay, once you invest in many relationships with the other gender, till you get married, you have like many girlfriends or boyfriends or whatever it is. You're gonna have other relationships that you invested in and emotionally attached to. You don't want to be emotionally attached to anyone when you come to a marriage.
By the time you come to the marriage, you'd hope you're not emotionally attached to previous relationships.
There might be always some remnants.
Well, also Judaism, on another point, Judaism is extremely careful for men and women not to, God forbid, be abused on any front.
On the sexual level.
Yeah, so I think that's also a big part of it. There's laws that are called yichud, which means that there are certain laws not allowing men and women to be alone in a room together if there is no connection, like dad and daughter is obviously allowed. And this is to protect, I guess, both from any sort of...
They shouldn't come to the level that, God forbid, they should be in a position where they can be abused.
or get into a not appropriate relationship. There's always like there's like a protective barrier to make sure that if somebody, let's say, is in that situation, how not to push it to the next level. A consciousness that the Torah puts in place. Maybe not calling them by their first name might create like we could be friendly, we could work together, but there is that little distance. Maybe Mrs. or Mr. or whatever their title is.
Rebbitzin,
Rabbi, and it just creates that little bit of like, yes, we're working together. Yes, we could be friendly. Yes, we could be nice and respect each other.
But I'm not here as your friend. I'm not here as your new relationship to invest in.
There's like it's just a little reminder, and that's really beautiful because it does, at the end of the day, protect marriages.
Let's say I'm in a room and a girl walks in, so I just will make sure that the door is a little open.
The door's a little open. If it's a public space, there's a lot of laws around it. But if it's especially a secluded space, then it's not okay. It's really interesting because a lot of people think that when you're coming from a very sheltered, I guess you'd say that it sounds very sheltered the way we live.
It sounds naive. It just sounds like, okay, you guys are brought up in this little...
In this very sheltered, naive bubble.
Some comments will even call it the cult.
We have had that. But it does sound like that. And when you think about it, the more you learn these Torah laws, for example, like these laws of Yichud, it's actually the opposite of naivety because you realize, firstly, how God created man and woman, usually to have like a spark with each other, right? If a guy and there's a girl, it's very likely there's going to be some sort of spark. If it's not from one side, it's from the other side. The more you learn these laws,
the more Torah laws you know, the more knowledge you have.
In regards to relationships between man and woman, you realize that there is such a connection, and you just
and we have to respect that. We can't just ignore that fact that there is a beautiful connection between a man and a woman. We have to nurture and respect that, and not try to bury that under the sand.
Yeah.
I think it boils down to, we're not trying to suppress the fact. We shouldn't try to suppress the fact that men and women have a certain spark between each other. Just like we asked those Danish kids. It's a reality.
I think these laws actually make you more conscious of the dynamics between a man and woman, and because of that, there are all these laws. So the more you realize how different situations could be dangerous, and different situations could be not a good situation to put yourself in, and that is why these Torah laws are there. So it's kind of a really nice. It's a different twist. You could look at it from the outside and be like, cult, they're so narrow-minded, or the opposite, like. No, we realize there's something so great here, and that is why we have all these laws, in order to keep it great.
because it can easily go wrong. And as we know, the Me Too movement showed how much of a problem this is in the world. Like, people take advantage. Like, oh, I'm just a teacher. Oh, I'm just a doctor. Oh. And this could have been prevented with the laws of Yichud. If there's a door open, if you know
Not to say that there has been no
situations in the Jewish community,
but-
100%, there has been, and there is, unfortunately.
but it definitely adds another layer of protection.
I've seen that men and women don't shake hands with each other.
So that is true. Men and women do not shake hands with each other. Men shake hands with men, women shake hands with women, and husband and wife could
If it's
shake
the opposite
hands.
gender, then I usually just go like this.
I usually say, what do you say?
I say it's out of respect to the woman, because it is.
And I say, I just shake hands with my husband. I think some people get a little offended sometimes, and I
it
try
happened,
to.
it happened
the other
by
day.
the bar mitzvah.
Yeah, it happened the other day, and try to be as respectful as possible. But the reason that this exists is also the same reason why there's another question there saying about touching.
We don't touch anyone from the opposite gender, besides your wife, your siblings, and your parents and grandparents.
It's all under the same thing. The reason that there is no touch is also to make the relationship between a man and wife so much more sensitive. So, for example, when people hug each other, there is a level of closeness, right? And there is a level of love and a connection. And when people, there is, it's fact.
Yeah.
So when it comes to...
Well, if not, then there's a problem. Then the person is fake.
Yeah, that's true. It's meant to. Physical touch does create an extra connection. And that is why physical touch is safe between husband and wife, because it makes the smallest touch and the smallest hug so much more special. Because if you're hugging guys the whole day long, when you come to hug your husband, you don't have that
It's not much just for you.
And it's not as much as the spark.
Physical touch is basically this red line which makes it so special in a relationship. And then it's not been tampered with outside of the relationship. It's not been played with. Well, I've shaken so many people's hands, you know. It puts physical touch at a much higher level of intimacy once you don't shake the other gender's hand.
There's just more of a
This is
spark.
the only person I
because-
touch.
Yeah, well, the only person of the other sex.
Yeah.
Which is really nice, and that is why men and women do not shake hands, out of respect and in order to keep that spark really strong between husband and wife. So if you bump into an Orthodox Jewish person and you put your hand out and they are of the opposite sex and they say, I am so sorry, or whatever they tell you, it is really out of respect. And it's also
important to know that it's not just for our marriage that we don't touch other people's hands, but it's also important to know that we don't just touch other people from the other gender. Like, the girl or man has a protection of, if someone's all of a sudden going to be touching you, then something's wrong. Like, okay, like, did I invite this touch? Did I ask for a hug? Did I ask for you to shake my hands for 30 seconds? It sets it much more straight and plain out, like, this is appropriate, this is not appropriate.
I get so shy when it comes to like our relationship. Like I can speak about this in general, but when it comes okay, next, forget this.
It has to be done.
Okay.
That's a very good point, Rizal.
Thank you. I think I forgot to screenshot it, but the question was, is divorce allowed in Judaism? And obviously the way we're speaking, it sounds like marriage between a marriage and wife is so important, and it is so important. But if, God forbid, someone is in a dangerous marriage and an abusive marriage and a marriage that is
Toxic.
not good for them, Judaism actually encourages leaving that marriage. So
Judaism wants you to be happy. And if you're not happy in a relationship, obviously you should try to save that and try to make it work. But if it doesn't have the material to work, then you should definitely
exit.
Exit.
Having seen the movie Orthodox, I think they meant unorthodox, on Netflix, would you say that you don't touch or kiss before the wedding are public displays of affection allowed? So, firstly, if you watched that dating video, if you haven't yet, go watch it. If you watched our dating video, we did
right here.
It's right here, we'll pop it in. We did touch upon touching and not touching before marriage. So you could go watch that. I finished my drink. It was really good. It was just, no, thank you.
Swedish.
I read Skod.
Public displays of affection. Well, we don't touch in public because, again, it pierces into the concept that this intimate relationship I have with my spouse is just for us. It's not for anyone else to see, and it's
I get so bashful. Keep talking.
It's sacred. It's sacred. And if it's actually sacred and it's something that we really respect, we don't have to feel that we need to show it to everyone and say, look, we love each other, look, we're kissing each other, we're hugging each other. Then it can maybe even put it in the category of trying to prove people that we love each other. It can ruin the relationship very seriously. So that's why we don't touch each other.
That was a very nice answer. Mm-hmm. Now we go on to the next question.
Well, if there's no one around, then we could touch each other.
It's just all about retaining that sense of privacy and that sense of like closeness. Just
Cameras on low battery, by the way. Same, like you were before
Yes, you
married.
can. Yes, you can.
The same as before you married?
Not the same.
Not the same. I think you
One second, I'm coming to you.
you can have girlfriends. No, friends that are girls, but
Right.
I think like you shouldn't be so much with them because you have a wife.
Okay, I hear that.
And hopefully kids to have
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And what do you think?
the same.
Not the same.
Yeah, the same.
It should be the same?
No, the same that
Oh, the same as he said.
If the wife thinks it's fine, yeah. But if she doesn't,
But what if you feel it's not fine?
about if she has
Imagine
guy
you go running with a girl that was friends with you before you got married. You think that's fine?
no.
Nope.
No, right? So, what changes between the first question I asked you guys and between now? Once I give the example that after you're married, all of a sudden it's not fine. But before, you said there's no emotional connection. You get my question?
Yeah.
Good point? Yeah, good point. You guys want to change the first question I asked you guys?
Not really, because
But you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay? Once you put things in perspective, there is that concept that being friends with women does have some emotional connection, right? There is some feelings. You're not just going to be friends. Make sense?
Yeah.
I'm not just. Someone's not going to be friends with women just like that. There is, at least for men, there's an emotional reason behind it. Okay?
Yeah.
Will you guys watch this video?
Of course.
You can follow us on Instagram as well. That Jewish family.
What's the name of the channel?
That Jewish family. Have a good one, guys. You too. Take care. Now, Raisel's always shy when I ask people questions in public. So here she is.